Hello and welcome to our analysis of iCAT11. iCAT11 is the 11th mock in our All India National Level mock test series for CAT. So having taken 10 mocks by now, you would have already gone into the flow of how to take a mock, how to strategize for it, answer each question, decide how to select questions, etc. So now the difficulty level of the mocks will start getting different every time. You'll have various combinations of mocks. Some of the questions might start getting a bit interesting and so on. So let's look at iCAT11 first. Broadly, we have classified iCAT11 as an easy to moderate mock with an average difficulty level of 1.9. So for the uninitiated or for the people who have not taken a mock so far, we allocate an LOD or a level of difficulty of 1, 2 or 3 to each question, where 1 is easy, 2 is moderate and 3 is difficult. So the average difficulty level per question for this mock is 1.9. That's just below moderate. Now if you compare it with iCAT10, which was probably a tough mock, then yes, this was a reasonably much easier mock. On a standalone basis, yes, this was close to moderate. That is where we've classified it as easy to moderate. Let's look at the three sections one by one in order of appearance. So the first that we encounter in this mock is verbal ability or VA. The average difficulty level here that we saw was 1.91 again, which means broadly the paper replicated this difficulty level. Now when I compare this with the average difficulty level of CAT, I can say this is marginally higher. So it's a small difference between what CAT and this paper had. Yes, there might be some changes here and there in terms of the question type, but broadly the difficulty level was the same. What was the breakup within this section? So as usual, we had 24 RC questions and 10 numerical entry or theta questions. There were 6 RCs. So whenever you have 6 RCs, it will typically be a 6 question into 2 RC breakup plus 4 questions, 3 questions into 4 RCs breakup. Which RCs should you have attempted here? And this often becomes important in a mock where all the questions are either moderate or moderate to tough. So here when I look at these RCs, I observe that there are 2 moderate to tough RCs, one on the principles of duty and one which was an absolutely abstract topic. So if I look at the topics here, I had a lot of sociology, philosophy related topics such as principles of duty, Plato and moral reasoning. Then there was one on the abstract. So these were the topics that would have really haunted you, but 2 of them were tough. So the one on principles of duty and the one on the abstract topic could have been left. There were 2 easy to moderate passages. The one on Plato actually was easy. So that was something which students might not have attempted, reading the word Plato. But that is something you should have tried. Similarly, the passage on World War technology between World Wars 1 and 2 was actually easy. And it was a lot of facts and figures, history, etc. So that was a good read. You could have easily solved it. Then there were the 2 moderate RCs. One was on Harry Potter and one was on inventory management. So here, your interest in that particular topic would have decided what you want to attempt. So for example, a Harry Potter fan would have straight away jumped to that and said, why not do this? Somebody like me who doesn't follow it would go more into the inventory management stuff and do that. But broadly, if I look at these, you have 2 easy to moderate, 2 moderate and 2 relatively tough RCs. What could you have attempted? The 2 easy to moderate ones, definitely yes, so that would have been 9 questions. And then definitely one of the complete moderate ones, which was again doable, so 3 more questions there. And then 1 or 2 questions here and there. So you could have got around 14 questions in your RCs right away. Coming to the non-RCs, out of the 10, you had jumbled, contextual odd man out and para summary. The strange part here was that the contextual odd man out questions were the easiest of the lot, which is generally not the case. But here they were the easiest of the lot compared to the others. Again, in jumbled sentences and in para summary, you had one or two questions here and there which were easy. So with smart identification of questions, there were easily 3 to 5, so let's say 4 questions that you could have answered correctly with a lot of assurance in this part. So 14 in the RC, 4 in the non-RCs. My call would be that 18 attempts in this, 18 very serious attempts in this section would be a good performance for this mock. Let's now move on to the next section, which is DILR. Okay, so as usual, this was the toughest section as far as this mock is concerned. But was it tough in isolation? In terms of classification, we've classified this as moderate because in terms of the pure numbers, it falls below the cutoff. But yes, it was on the borderline between moderate and tough, so I would still call it moderate. A moderate DI is still out of bounds for a lot of people. What typically happens in such a DI section is that you will have 2 or 3 sets which everybody should attempt, and then you have 2 or 3 sets which people will attempt based on their ability in that chapter or their strengths and weaknesses or their interest. That was the same case in this mock as well. So here what did we see? There were 4 or 5 sets that you should have definitely attempted. Which were these? So the easiest set was one on the Roman numeral system. Had you taken that, less than 10 minutes you would have got everything. Then there was one on betting and gambling game. Again, these 2 sets should have been definitely attempted. Then there was a set on chemicals in various ingredients in those chemicals and seating arrangement in a car or multiple cars. So again, these 2 sets could have been attempted. The last 2 sets that you should have looked at was one on profit on cold drinks and one on elections in constituencies. In both of these, you could have attempted 3 to 4 questions. So my choice would essentially be a 6C4. What I mean is, pick up any 4 sets out of these 6, try and attempt them to the full. In the remaining 2 sets, try and attempt 1 or 2 questions as and when possible. But on the whole, my attempt strategy here would be 4 full sets, that's 16, and another 2 to 3 questions bare minimum. So 19 attempts is what I would look at as far as this section is concerned. But yes, compared to a normal CAT, I would say the DILR in this section was 10% easier, possibly. Finally, let's move to Quant. The easiest section in CAT, the easiest section in this mock as well. The difficulty level here was close to 1.7. Now 1.75 is what we say that, okay, that is where we start calling it moderate. So this was not even moderate, this was purely easy. And if you start listing down the number of sitters, you will be very surprised. In CAT, in the last 2 years, I have always seen that there are 10 to 12 easy questions. Here, when I sat and counted the number of easy questions in this mock, I could find close to 15 questions that you should have definitely attempted. Now, I will not list down each of those questions, I will give you some numbers, but the interesting part here, and if I look at that data, then there were very interesting chunks of questions which were easy. So for instance, questions 68 to 71 had 3 easy questions. 75 to 79 again 3. 87 to 90 everything was easy. 95 to 100 had 4 easy questions. So what happened in this mock was everywhere at well spaced out intervals you had 3-4 easy questions coming together, and then correspondingly there would have been chunks where there were 4-5 difficult questions together. So you would have to find the easy questions cassette and try and solve them in one go. As I can see, and I can tell you, a lot of them were spread across a lot of chapters, so there was no one chapter or one area that you could have focused, but broadly there were these 14-15 questions that you could have definitely attempted. Also, my analysis of this mock says that the moderate questions that we had were not really unsolvable. So at least 4 to 5 of those could also have been attempted well. On the whole, I would say 19 to 20 attempts, tending more towards 20, would be a good performance as far as this section is concerned. So, to summarize, I would say that on the whole, this mock was easy to moderate. Section wise, we had a moderate verbal section, a moderate DILR section, and an easy quant section. So the overall difficulty was quite manageable. The number of good attempts would have been 18 in verbal, 19 in DILR, and 20 in quant, which means that anywhere around 56, 57 or 58 attempts would be a very good performance as far as this paper is concerned. A bright student might even have been able to cross the 60 mark and go into the lower 60s. Wish you all the best for CAT. Do well. You can subscribe to more videos of this type on our official channel. Thank you.